got to talk about Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, because he reportedly is upset that fans aren't 100% locked in on this team right now. And let's be real, a big part of that is because of Shedeur Sanders.
The NFL thought they could coast through a Sunday without Shedeur Sanders. But what happened next was a full-blown meltdown. Ratings didn't just dip, they nosedived straight through the floor like a Browns fumble bouncing off the goal line. Executives were sweating bullets, broadcasters were scrambling, and fans were staring at their screens wondering who swapped primetime football for paint drying. It wasn't just a bad weekend, it was a national emergency in shoulder pads, and all it took was one name missing from the lineup.
I want the guy. The owner don't want him, the coach don't want him, the general manager don't want him. They don't want him on the team. Obviously, the NFL do not want Shiloh or Shedeur in the league, but Shedeur is good for money and ratings, or he wouldn't even be there. They don't ever want him to play.
Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland didn't just show up mad, they showed up betrayed. The kind of anger that only comes when the thing you've been hyping for weeks gets yanked away at the last second. People spent their money, their energy, their Sunday dreams, all for a game that felt like a cruel joke. Imagine fans decked out in orange and brown, faces painted, nachos in hand, ready to roar, only to find out the star of the show was a no-show. It was like throwing a birthday party and finding out the cake never got delivered. The stadium was tragic. It looked less like an NFL battleground and more like a forgotten high school scrimmage. Empty seats everywhere, echoing silence instead of cheers. You could practically hear the heartbreak bouncing off the walls. Ticket sales dead flat, energy non-existent. It was a ghost town wearing a scoreboard. And Cleveland fans? Oh, they weren't holding back one bit. They took to Twitter, TikTok, radio shows, any platform that would listen. The rage was real. They didn't pay to watch a bunch of confused players jogging through plays like they were at practice. They paid for Shedeur's fire, that electric swagger that makes you believe just for a moment that something magical might actually happen in Cleveland. Instead, they got stuck watching the football version of stale leftovers. The fans are furious, the city's buzzing, and the league's shaking because one truth is echoing louder than the boos. Without Shedeur Sanders, the NFL just isn't the same.
Season ever not gotten really weird.
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Does that mean Flacco and we already know he's the third quarterback. So what? Nothing weird has to happen. The first two quarterbacks got to get hurt or be terrible.
Yeah, that's.
And then he'll get a chance.
That's what she means, I think.
Yeah. So, but who didn't know that already?
I think we all knew that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why that's a news story.
Because it makes.
I mean, she's the first person to put it in print where she says he's not playing this year.
But he's going to play this year, I assume, because I don't think these guys are going to make it through.
Let's get real for a second. Shedeur's situation is starting to look exactly like Kobe Bryant's rookie years. It hit me like a blitz. Remember when young Kobe stepped into the league with that unstoppable energy, that raw electric talent, and that look in his eyes that screamed, "I'm the future." And what did Coach Del Harris do? Benched him. Treated him like some kid sneaking into varsity practice. Man thought he was teaching discipline, but all he really did was delay greatness. Del Harris tried to humble Kobe, but history humbled him. Because who did Kobe become? One of the greatest to ever touch a basketball. The legend who changed the definition of what it meant to win. And yet for 2 full seasons, Kobe's fire was being smothered under the illusion of control. Tell me that doesn't sound familiar, Cleveland. That's exactly what Kevin Stefanski is doing to Shedeur Sanders right now, holding him back like he's afraid of his own player's potential. It's deja vu with a football twist, and this time the price might be even higher. History's got jokes, but Browns fans aren't laughing. They don't want to wait for the legacy arc 10 years from now. They're mad today. The kind of mad that doesn't stop at yelling.
So you mean to tell me the Cleveland Browns listed Shedeur Sanders as inactive today? Inactive? Yo, look, man. At this point, hey, I'm a fan of Shedeur, I'm a fan of Dion, but we just need to stop caring. Because the more people actually trying to tune in to watch Shedeur, the more they ain't gonna play him, and the more they using him for clout.
They're organizing, plotting, ready to start petitions, demanding Stefanski pack his playbook and go. Cleveland's used to losing games, sure. They practically have a PhD in heartbreak. But losing the fans, That's the true disaster. Attendance is so bad you could stretch out across a whole section and still have room for a nap. Empty seats everywhere. The stadium looks more like a Sunday garage sale than an NFL showdown. Beer sales, dead, jerseys, gathering dust in closets like forgotten dreams, hope evaporating faster than a running back through paper defenders. And while the fans boil over, what's Stefanski doing? Standing there, arms crossed, face blank.
Journalists are even out here claiming that ticket sales are down, that seats are looking empty right now. I don't know if that's 100% true, because I'm gonna be fair to you guys. The Cleveland Browns, that is, loyal and local supporters have been supporting. And I'm gonna get back to talking about the Cleveland Browns supporters, but let's look at some of these articles first. And it's getting a little bit nasty. So they're like, look, man, viewerships are crashing. One guy broke it down to me on Reddit. He was like, look, bro, we're not saying the fans aren't loyal. The ticket sales are high, but during the coverage, if you look at the ratings, it's been going
like he's just waiting for his Uber ride home, completely oblivious to the chaos around him. The man's acting like he's calm under pressure, but really, he's ignoring the storm that's already swallowing his team whole. Cleveland doesn't need another stoic statue. They need action now. Because if he doesn't wake up soon, the next chant echoing through that empty stadium won't be "Go Browns." It'll be "Fire Stefanski." Don't just sit there grumbling into your beer. Get mad enough to make something happen. Cleveland's got to stop acting like this is normal. Fire this man before Sunday even shows up. Stefanski's pulling a full-on Del Harris, trying to tame a superstar before he's even let him off the leash. That's not coaching. It's football malpractice. Fans don't buy tickets for caution. They want chaos. They don't want some spreadsheet offense built by a guy who thinks excitement means rounding up decimals. They want electricity. They want Shedeur lighting up defenses, breaking plays, turning busted calls into highlight reels that make jaws drop. Cleveland wants someone to believe in again. And if Stefanski can't see that, maybe it's time to show him what happens when the people stop showing up. Because nothing sends a louder message than silence. You want to shake an owner? Don't boo, vanish. Empty seats, empty parking lots, and dead concession stands speak louder than any protest sign ever could. When the nacho cheese cools and the beer taps stay closed, that's when the suits start sweating. It's the same tired loop every season.
Whole season is gonna go. You're gonna go through all of those quarterbacks. They're all gonna stink. You're gonna get to Shedeur after the city is going to literally be chanting his name from game 1 all the way to game 6 or 7. And you're gonna expect him to do one or two things. Make the season exciting, or you're gonna expect him to produce a playoff run. I already know what you're gonna do. You're gonna put him in the worst possible scenario. So trade him. Let him go somewhere else where he can be way more than what you're trying to make him.
A coach who mistakes discipline for benching his best weapon. An owner who thinks loyalty means clinging to a man running on fumes. It's like watching someone keep pouring gas into a broken engine, then acting shocked when it still won't start. If that's Stefanski's idea of leadership, then maybe karma should make an early appearance this weekend. Pull the trigger, Haslam. Don't wait for another Sunday embarrassment. Fire him before kickoff. Let the fans know someone's finally listening. Because at this point, Shedeur's absence isn't just hurting Cleveland, it's tanking the entire NFL vibe. Ratings are free-falling, attendance is a joke, and suddenly, the league looks fragile without its next big name. One missing player, and the whole system cracks. What does that tell you? It tells you Shedeur Sanders isn't just the Browns' future, he's the league's lifeline. The NBA already lived this nightmare with Kobe Bryant. Imagine if Del Harris had actually succeeded in burying Kobe on the bench for 2 whole years. Basketball history would look completely different. No Mamba mentality, no 5 rings, no legend. That's exactly the kind of disaster Cleveland is flirting with right now. Stefanski thinks he's just managing a roster.
You know, I'm a little bummed, a little bored. There's no Shedeur buzz going on. He's a third-string quarterback in there and goes, oh, there's Shedeur buzz. And I'm like, what? He didn't do anything. He didn't get in the game.
The Browns fan base, as always on this issue, is divided. There are half the people who thought that him going over to Schmitty Kicker and telling him it'll be okay.
Oh my!
Like, because on TV, the one shot of Andre Schmidt on the sideline after the missed field goal.
Oh, and you think Shedeur just happened to know what?
No. I'm not. I'm not telling you what I think. I will tell you what I think.
You think he pre-planned that to get his?
But in reality, he's holding back the one player who could rewrite the story of the entire franchise, maybe even shift the league's future. That's not strategy. That's self-sabotage. And here's the punchline. Nobody remembers Del Harris, but everyone remembers the man he tried to suppress. Right now, the Browns are walking that same tragic path. Fans aren't confused. They know what's going on. They see the lifeless stadiums, the quiet stands, the missing spark that used to make Sundays feel electric. They can sense it in their bones, hope slipping away like a fumble in overtime. The next generation star is being wasted in real time, and everyone can feel it. They're not wrong for demanding change. They're begging for it. If Kobe could break free from Del Harris's grip to become one of the greatest ever, then why can't Shedeur do the same under Stefanski's Shedeur W? History is lining up for an encore, and Cleveland's watching with clenched fists. The fans have had enough. They're done clapping politely while their team crumbles. That's why seats are empty. That's why ticket sales are flatlining. And that's why Saturday night might just be Stefanski's last dance with karma. Fire him. Free Shedeur. Let Cleveland breathe again. Because those empty seats aren't just seats, they're screams.
Shedeur just got to continue to grind. You know, right now he's quarterback 3, so that means he's probably handling scout team responsibility. Him and Bailey Zappi is probably splitting time on the scout team right now, and he's trying to get better in that aspect as far as being able to see it, get the ball out quick, and make the throws. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious that Dylan Gabriel is going to get the action if once Joe Flacco.
Each one echoing with disappointment, every row a reminder of wasted potential. The stadium vibe? It's not football. It's a library on a Tuesday afternoon. Dead quiet, zero pulse, no fire. And Browns fans, they've gone nuclear. They're tweeting, posting, calling every sports radio station they can find, unleashing fury like never before. They didn't buy season tickets to watch mediocrity stumble around pretending to lead. They paid for excitement, for that spark, for Shedeur Sanders to light up the field like a storm. And until that happens, Cleveland's silence will say it louder than any chant ever could. Cleveland fans wanted that Shedeur swagger, the kind of energy that shakes the stadium and makes people believe something wild could finally happen in this city. They wanted magic, not mediocrity.
He has them called out his GM, Andrew Berry, so hard. Do you remember when the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders? You remember, right? He fell all the way to the 5th round. It was a big deal. And the owner said at the end of the day, this is his quote, "That's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur." That's so awesome. It's so wrong also. A, it's wrong to throw your GM under the bus. B, it's wrong to throw him under the bus on something that they know, you know, everyone in the organization knows, everyone in the media knows. You are full of it. It's total.
But instead, they got served the football version of reheated leftovers. Stale, bland, and painful to swallow. The fans are fuming. And they're not whispering about it, they're demanding answers. And when you take a step back, it all feels like deja vu. Shedeur's situation looks almost identical to Kobe Bryant's rookie years. It hit me like lightning. Remember young Kobe, raw talent, fire in his eyes, and that fearless, "I am the future," confidence that scared even veterans. And what did his coach, Del Harris, do? He benched him. Treated him like a high schooler who snuck into a varsity locker room. Harris thought he was teaching patience, but what he really did was try to cage greatness, and history never forgave him for it.
Of absurd opinions that are out there on Shedeur Sanders, why he hasn't played great in the preseason, why he's not being the starter for the Cleveland Browns. It is absolutely off the charts. People have lost their minds when they're discussing Shedeur Sanders. I think it's because people are still bitter that they were wrong about him being a first-round pick. The NFL is always a meritocracy. It's what are you capable of actually accomplishing on the field.
Because who did Kobe become? One of the greatest athletes to ever live. The icon who redefined winning itself. And now here we are. Kevin Stefanski is walking down that same doomed path. Just like Del Harris, He'll be remembered not as a mastermind, but as the roadblock Shedeur Sanders bulldozed on his way to glory. But here's the thing. Browns fans aren't in the mood to wait for history to write the ending. They're not calm, not patient. They're furious. The kind of furious that could spark petitions, protests, maybe even demands for the governor to step in and clean house. Losing games, Cleveland's used to that. Losing fans, that's the real crisis. Attendance is so empty you could host a yoga class across 3 sections and still have room to stretch. The crowd energy's gone, dead quiet. Beer taps are dry, jerseys collecting dust, and hope is slipping away faster than a running back cutting through tissue paper defense. The truth is painful. This city isn't just losing football games, it's losing its soul, and it's happening right in front of everyone's eyes. Stefanski isn't just a coach dragging his feet, he's holding an entire city hostage. Cleveland's chained to his stubborn playbook while the future sits rotting on the bench. Instead of seizing the moment, Stefanski's pulling a full-on Del Harris, trying to tame a superstar before the world even gets to see him unleashed. Can you imagine if Del Harris had actually succeeded in burying Kobe Bryant for 2 straight years? The entire history of basketball would look completely different. That's how high the stakes are right now in Cleveland. It's not just about football, it's about legacy. Stefanski probably thinks he's just managing a roster, but what he's really doing is holding back the guy who could change everything. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another player, he's the spark that could redefine the Browns, maybe even the NFL itself. And the worst part?
I don't think that's not my place, to answer, to even be able to give the answer to that. I feel like it's not in my control. So I'm not even gonna think about that or have that even in my thought process of why it is. Like, there's a lot of people that want to have the opportunity to be at this level, and I'm here, and I'm thankful to have the opportunity. So whenever that is, it is. But it doesn't make me feel down, or it doesn't make me feel left out or anything, because I know
this kind of mistake isn't the kind you recover from. Just ask Del Harris if you can even find anyone who still remembers him. Because history never remembers the man who blocked greatness. It remembers the one who broke through it. The fans see it all happening in real time, and they're done pretending. They see the empty seats, the fading energy, the hopeless routines. It's like watching potential rot right in front of them. They feel it deep in their bones, their future being wasted while the coach plays it safe. So when they demand change, they're not being dramatic, they're being honest. Because if Kobe could rise from Del Harris's grip to become the Mamba, then what's stopping Shedeur from breaking free of Stefanski? History's repeating itself, and the fans can smell it. That's why they're furious, why they're not showing up, and why Saturday night might just be Stefanski's last ride before karma cashes in. And now, the theories are getting wild. Some fans swear Stefanski's secretly made a deal with rival teams to keep Cleveland mediocre forever so nobody ever takes them seriously. Sounds insane, right? But that's what happens when you starve a fan base of hope for too long. They start connecting dots that don't even exist just to explain the madness. When loyalty turns into conspiracy, it's not the fans who've lost their minds. It's the franchise that's lost its purpose. Have you seen the stadium vendors lately?
So there was a Browns preseason game against the LA Rams today. And Shedeur Sanders, he didn't play well, but he was also playing with the 3s and 4s. But young quarterback, you got to experience certain things. It comes with the learning process. Cool, I get it. But Stefanski, the Browns coach, did not put him back in for the 2-minute drill, which they could have went to win the game. Instead, he put out a quarterback that probably won't be on the roster come Tuesday.
It's getting tragic out there. The hot dog guy said he sold fewer Franks last game than at a high school track meet. That's when you know things are falling apart. Even the popcorn's giving up. It's going stale before halftime. That's not just bad business. That's Stefanski's legacy on full display. The fan experience is so lifeless that even the nacho cheese refuses to melt. It's like the whole stadium caught the same lack of energy that's coming from the sideline. Meanwhile, Shedeur's jerseys, flying off shelves like limited edition sneakers. Online fans are sending the message loud and clear. They don't want Cleveland football without Shedeur Sanders. They want that kid under the lights, throwing heat, silencing every critic who ever doubted him. The people have spoken. They want action, not excuses. And if Stefanski can't deliver that, then what's the point of keeping him around? And if ownership can't figure that out either, then maybe karma's coming for them next. The whispers are getting louder across Cleveland, fans saying karma's waiting just around the corner. Maybe it'll show up in the form of empty luxury suites that used to print money. Maybe it's corporate sponsors suddenly pulling their support when they realize mediocrity doesn't sell. Or maybe, just maybe,
why? The Browns wanted Kenny Pickett to battle 40-year-old Joe Flacco. That's their answer at quarterback. And they drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round and then put through the Shedeur, the most popular player in the draft. They threw in the end, the 5th round, and they say it's a value pick. When they say it's a value pick, the value is what? You're not giving him a chance to start. You're not. They won't even let him play.
It's the Cleveland faithful rising up, turning the dog pound into something even louder, a movement. Because karma doesn't always strike quietly, it hits when you ignore the people who built your empire. The Browns fans have hit their breaking point, and this time they're ready to make noise that ownership can't ignore. Think about it. Firing Stefanski on Saturday night wouldn't just be a coaching move. It'd be a cleansing ritual, a message to every tired fan, every restless player, every soul in Cleveland who's sick of settling. It'd say, we're done accepting mediocrity. And that sound, the sound of a city reclaiming its pride, would echo louder than any touchdown ever could. Meanwhile, Cleveland has one final chance to send a message, a signal that they're ready to embrace the future, not bury it under a mountain of dusty playbooks and tired excuses. Imagine the statement it would make to cut ties before Sunday, to stop pretending this slow-motion disaster will magically fix itself. Do it now, and fans won't have to suffer through another game of lifeless football before hope finally returns.
I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders, and I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the 3rd unit. He's 4th on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just going to throw him to...
Picture that stadium on Sunday. The roar, the relief, the electricity in the air when people realize the weight has been lifted. That's the spark this fan base has been begging for. That's the fire that makes people believe again. And you know what'll happen next. The comparisons to Kobe will grow louder than ever. Because just like Kobe was held back by Del Harris, Shedeur Sanders is being shackled by Stefanski's stubbornness. But here's the difference. Kobe turned his frustration into greatness, and Cleveland might not have that luxury. The NFL moves fast, faster than most teams can rebuild, faster than fans can forgive. Stars rise and fade in the blink of an eye, and you cannot afford to waste Shedeur's light sitting on the bench. Every snap he misses is another opportunity slipping through Cleveland's fingers. You can't suffocate momentum in a league built on headlines, hype, and heroes who show up. Cleveland deserves that moment, the rebirth, the spark, the comeback. Fire Stefanski, free Shedeur, and let the city breathe again. Because when that happens, it won't just be a football story. It'll be history in motion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll see you on the next one.